Today, we'll go over 4 diet tweaks that make healthier eating easier, more practical, and convenient. These go beyond the basic things that you probably already know, like increase your protein intake, or eat more omega-3 fatty acids, or swap simple for complex carbohydrates. See, I consider myself someone who eats relatively healthy. And every couple of weeks, like 3 to 4 months, I look back at my diet and try to scan the foods that I'm eating and find certain blind spots, certain habits that are detrimental to my health. And I think everyone can find little gaps where they could improve like 5 to 10% of their diet currently, even if you think you eat very healthy. Because, most of us tend to have these habits, I eat pasta on weekends, or this cheddar cheese is very delicious, but it is processed, or I drink 4 cups of coffee on a Monday, or I visit that croissant place every Thursday with my friends. Like, these little tweaks can help make meaningful changes in our diets if we could scan and find those and then replace it or improve them with better alternatives. So the goal here is getting closer to your optimal level of eating so you get closer to health and sustainable energy. First thing I did was I examined my dairy products and saw if I can find better, healthier alternatives. I threw away everything that was low fat, like intentionally low fat, because it typically had more sugars in it. And I also tried to find products that are not just full fat, but if I could get dairy that's grass fed and fully organic, I got my hands on it. We're talking butter, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, cheddar cheese, eggs, stuff like this. See, reason is fat-free dairy products typically have certain additives and sugars for texture and flavor to replace the fat that they've stripped out, which is exactly what processing means. It's processed and more sugar-packed, which is not very good for your health. Second, the concern over eating saturated fat being viewed as bad is, I think, overstated. There are numerous studies which don't show increased risk of heart disease or LDL cholesterol increase with full-fat versus low-fat alternatives of dairy. Also, full-fat dairy like grass-fed butter or cottage cheese, matured cheddar cheese, eggs, they do tend to pack a lot of good nutrients, some of them B12 vitamins. Butter has CLA conjugated linoleic acid, which is potent antioxidant. All of them contain most of the fat-soluble vitamins, particularly vitamin E, vitamin A, and vitamin D, which are essential to your metabolic health, organ, and bodily function. Full-fat dairy is also in many papers associated to lower rates of obesity and type 2 diabetes, potentially because some of these antioxidants like CLA have potent effects on improving insulin sensitivity, but also because full fat means satiety, energy for longer, which prevents glucose roller coasters, and it's also nutrient, especially antioxidant rich. I swapped processed soft cheese, low-fat Greek yogurt, and milks with seed oils with a more calorie-dense but nutrient-rich alternatives. I enjoy some cottage cheese on my toast. I swapped to organic, aged, and hard cheddar cheese, and I also do full-fat Greek yogurt nowadays. The second thing I swapped is my kitchen cookware. So before this, I used a lot of plastic spatulas and non-stick pans after I started researching some of the chemicals that these things leach onto our food. And if you're someone who uses this as well, you might gonna want to reconsider it. Plastic cookwares like cutting boards or spatulas, when you cut on a plastic cut board, it leaches small pieces of plastic into your food. Same goes for when you scratch a non-stick pan and then you heat it up and cook in it with high heat with oil. It leaches on certain chemicals like BPAs. BPA is the known one for plastic, that is bisphenol A, And PFCs are known for this type of non-stick pens, which are perfluorinated compounds, which negatively affect the way your hormones are secreted and how they signal to each other. So studies actually link PFAs and PFCs to increased risk of certain cancers and specific endocrine disruptions, particularly being disruptive to the male reproductive system. Same goes for BPAs and plastic, which can leach from products in cookware, increasing the risk of certain endocrine disruptions, metabolic disorders like obesity and insulin resistance, and certain cancers like thyroid. So to clean up your kitchen cookware, make sure you drop all plastic. No plastic cutting boards or spatulas, replace for wooden ones. Swap the non-stick pans for stainless steel or ceramic cooking pans and learn how to use them to prevent sticking. For food storage, stainless steel or glass is a great option. If you already eat clean, lift weights, and wear blue blockers, is there a way to optimize even further? Probably yes. Answer our 33-question quiz and see how filled your battery is from 0 to 100. Anything below 90% still has some extra energy left in the tank to be unlocked. The best thing? The quiz gives you 4 high return on investment areas to improve further. We've packed the last 4 years of research on human health and performance optimization into a simple digital product. Recharge: 11 science-backed ways to go from tired to energetic. A digital set of an ebook, 12 high-quality videos explaining context, and a habit tracker. Scan the QR code or links in the description. See you on the other side. The third thing I find very practical is to front load my nutrients in my breakfast. I have made it a dedicated video on this, where I showcase the top 2 options I have for breakfast and why I eat them and those nutrients. The reason this works is, I think, because oftentimes as the day progresses, our battery, our energy drains off. That drains our discipline as well, and it's harder to eat healthier or work harder in the evening than it is in the morning. And so if you can start your day on the right foot and get a lot of those nutrients, then you don't have to be so stressed about when social occasions pop up in the evening, or when you have an extra errand you need to run and then you can't really get the healthiest food on your plate. You already have a ton of nutrients from your breakfast. You go on a date, you don't want to worry about getting 45 grams of highly bioavailable protein on it. You just want to enjoy. And so front-loading your nutrients, particularly protein, fiber, and healthy fats in the morning is, I think, a very good way to power up your body to start the day and not having to worry so much about nutrients later on when your battery drains. For breakfast, I typically have a nutrient-dense omelette with avocados, fresh cherry tomatoes, whole grain toast, olive oil, 4 eggs, and some cottage or cheddar cheese, adding over 50 grams of protein with a good chunk of healthy fats. The second option is full of fiber, healthy fats, and antioxidants. A nutty oatmeal bowl with a bunch of berries, seeds, nut butters, pure cocoa, and Greek yogurt. Yes, life's good. The fourth thing I do is I started eating more fruit. Now, 20 years ago, this would seem like a no-brainer, like, of course, fruit is healthy, it's packed with antioxidants. I was a big fan of low-carb and ketogenic diets back 3 to 4 years ago. I still see the point of eating low-carb and high-fat, particularly if you're someone who's not metabolically flexible and doesn't have good metabolic function, meaning it's on the bridge towards insulin resistance. I do see a lot of value in intermittently dropping carbs by either doing fasting, keto, or something like a low carb diet for a set period. But once you get to a level where you are metabolically healthy, meaning your insulin and your glucose levels are within the healthy range, and you also train, you move, you exercise on a daily, I see fruit as a no-brainer. Here's why. If you scan at all the foods that you could eat and you do a couple of years of research, you would find that if you wanted to live the healthiest, most vibrant and long life, you would look at foods that first pack a lot of nutrients and two are not that rich in toxins. Food, at least the one we know of, like junk food or processed fat or a lot of sugars, if we throw that away, what we're left with is vegetables, meat, dairy, fruits, nuts, seeds, etc. Now, eating excessive amounts and eating only nuts, seeds, and green leafy vegetables is going to some level expose your body to more toxins. Now, that doesn't mean that any of this is bad. It's just excessively eating just those foods is going to bring forth more toxins than if you were to add things like animal-based protein like meat, eggs, cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, etc. And this is where fruits are pretty good at. They pack a lot of antioxidants, nutrients, with studies show very high amounts of vitamin C and also fiber per low toxin count. So there are not as many plant toxins in fruits. Fruits are generally cleaner, but they pack a good amount of fiber, antioxidants, vitamin C, and good fruit juices. So fruit definitely makes the cut here. Vitamin C, phytochemicals, polyphenols with strong antioxidant function. They're very rich in fiber, and there is substantial evidence in the scientific literature that fiber helps with gut microbiome, gut health, metabolic function, and weight loss. And fruits are also low in calories and pack a lot of liquid, a lot of water, a lot of juices, which make you feel fuller faster, make you feel more, I wouldn't say satiated, but fuller faster. That means they hydrate you and they could prevent overeating, typically because they are low in calories but make you feel fuller. And yes, for anyone who has poor metabolic function or can't control their blood glucose, eating high GI fruits is not the smartest idea. So picking low GI is a better way to not cause a spike in blood sugar. Beyond the 500 grams of frozen berries and 5 bananas I'd eat weekly, I still haven't made fruit a habit. However, when shopping, I make sure to get myself a tropical large fruit like a mango, a pineapple, or a papaya to enjoy during the weekends, and I also get some plums here and there. So there are 4 changes I've made to my healthy eating routine. I believe healthy eating is about convenience, routine, and systems. It also does not hurt to look at your diet every couple of months and see what is the little 5% that you can improve and go from there. I believe if one has the tendency to feel better, to live longer, to be stronger, having healthy, high quality food is like essential. It's the fuel your body is built of. It's the fuel that dictates your energy and how you're going to show up in life. So here are the 4 things. I swapped processed and low-fat dairy for organic, full-fat, and grass-fat if possible. Cottage cheese, matured cheddar, eggs, Greek yogurt, kefir, whole milk, all of these goodies. Clean my kitchen cookware, throw out all the plastic. I bought stainless steel cookware. I got wooden cutboard and a spatula, all wooden, and I bought food-safe glass containers to store my food. I'm front-loading my breakfast with essential nutrients like fiber, high-quality protein, and healthy fats because I don't want to care in the evening. And finally, I don't fear fruit anymore. I get my mangoes, my kiwis, my peaches, bananas, avocados. On a weekly basis, I'd probably have around 500 to 700 grams of frozen berries, 5 bananas, and 1 big piece of fruit like a mango or a papaya or a couple of apples. Enjoy. Hopefully, it provides some value and sets you up on a path to a healthier, more vibrant living.